Hello and welcome back for part 2 of my 3-part series on falafel. Now today we're going to make pita bread. While the recipe can seem simple, it can be finicky. So there are a couple notes that I want to share with you before we get started. Note number 1 is time management. Now dough is not going to be ready according to a recipe or a timer or anything like that. Dough is ready when it's ready. So it took me a couple times to make this dough to realize that the more time you give it to develop that gluten structure, the more time you spend kneading it and working it, the more likely you're going to get what I love to call the cave of wonder. And that's going to be that beautiful pocket in the middle of the pita bread that we're going to stuff all of our delicious things in before we shove it right in the mouth. Note number 2 has to do with recipe as well. All dough recipes are going to call for a certain amount of flour. However, note that this is a ballpark figure. So you may use all of it, you may need more of it, you most often will need less of it. So start with less, add it a tablespoon at a time once it gets to a consistency where it's getting close to being done, and then listen to the dough. The dough will tell you when it's ready. You'll see it start to pull the little pieces off of the side of the bowl. It's starting to look really nice. You see it just leaving that little bit at the bottom, and that's okay. It's tacky. You pull it off, you rub it between your fingers. If it rubs together and falls off, that's money right there. I think that's a great spot to be. Note number 3 has to do with that cave of wonder that I mentioned. It's what we're seeking when we do this pita recipe. It's a beautiful thing to see develop in the pan. And the only way this happens is with proper gluten structure, enough hydration, and sometimes you just kind of got to block up a hole or two. You know, if it's leaking out somewhere, you just have to put a offset spatula or something in the way. What I like to use is this. So this is kind of like a pie server. But what I like about this tool, it's a little reflective so that when I'm putting it on the pita dough as it's in the pan, I can kind of move it around and I'll see the steam kind of fog up the top of it. So I know that there's a little hole there, and then I can block up that hole, let that steam kind of develop that pocket and make that cave of wonder even deeper. Great tool to have, any type of offset spatula or something with kind of a larger surface area, because sometimes there'll be a hole back here on the dough and a hole like right in the center. And if you can get the angle just right, you can cover that up and let that develop. And that's really what we're looking for. So anything that helps you get closer to that result, in my opinion, go for it. My dough has been resting for about 2 hours now. I looked at it at an hour and it had a little bit of development, but I wanted to see a little bit more, so I left it in that warm environment for a little bit longer. Let's go check it out. Woohoo! She's beautiful. All right, so we're gonna turn this out and cut this into even pieces. I like the hydration. I like where it's at right now, so I'm not gonna put any flour on the bench right now. I'm on a wood table, so I think it's totally fine. So we're gonna press this and then cut it into even pieces. I should get 8 here. It's the same thickness all the way throughout. I have a nice shape that I can cut from. See me trying to shore up that edge so that's a little more even. Okay, here we go.
I got 4, let's put them in half again.
Okay, got my 8 pieces. They're not sticking at all. They have a nice, wet, oily kind of texture to them. Okay, so here's the bottom, here's the top. We want to fold that down. We're just doing little micro pulls from the top over the sides. Okay, we're trying to make a nice little ball here. Little bit of pull, little bit of pull. We're not stretching or breaking it. We're just trying to fold it on itself so it sticks. Okay, so we got that. And then I just do a little kind of pinch around. Let's try to get a little bit more help. There we go. One little hole at the bottom there, right? So what we want to do is when we roll it out, we're going to push this down into itself and then roll. And that's going to seal up that hole and give us a nice even structure for us to get that pocket. All about the pocket, baby. All right. Now let's do a time lapse.
That one's a little bit smaller. That's okay. They're not all gonna be the same size.
Now the key here is we don't want to let these dry out. So after I finish forming these guys, I'm going to cover them up with an oiled plastic wrap, put a towel over them, make sure that they don't dry out. And then I'll come back in about 15, 20 minutes when they've kind of puffed up a little bit, and we'll roll it out. All right, our dough has been resting for about 15 minutes. Let's check in and see if it's ready to go. All right, beautiful and supple. We're gonna get our skillet starting to warm up now. We're gonna do medium-high heat. So our dough is sticking to the rolling pin just a little bit. Like I said, I wanted to get that hydration in the dough, so this is a good sign. I just might need a little bit of flour now to keep that from sticking too much so I can roll it out effectively. I'm ready to cook my pita bread. So I'm going to go on the skillet here on medium-high heat. As soon as it gets hot, I'm going to splash a little bit of oil on it and use a paper towel to wipe off any excess oil. Drop that pita dough right onto the skillet, let it start to sizzle. So we do a minute on that side, flip it, 2 minutes on that side, and then flip it once more. And that last minute, for a total cook time of 4 minutes, it should develop that beautiful little pocket in the middle. So let's try it out. It's so